AFC East is a buzzsaw division. I think that's the quote I gave to it in the offseason. I knew it was going to be hyper competitive. But the shocking, for some, I guess, for me it was a little bit of a shock, and not too much. I thought the Jets were going to test the Bills. It was the last real critical game for the Bills this season I had to see. But I didn't really think the Bills were going to drop this one. But the Bills did lose to the Jets today in Jets' house, 20-17, and it upends the AFC East in a major way. Now, the Bills, they've lost to the Dolphins. They've lost to the Jets now. Tiebreakers is not going towards them. They're 6-2. They're down. They have one less game because of the bye week. Jets are 6-3. They've got the tiebreaker over the Dolphins currently and the Bills. They're in second place to the Dolphins, who won today in a wild one. And they're 6-3, but they have the tiebreaker over the Bills, but don't have the tiebreaker over the Jets, but have the tiebreaker over the Patriots, who are 5-4. Got it? Savvy? I know we all hate other people in the divisions, but we're all AFC East teams. And whoever comes out, you're going to be able to hold your head up high because you've earned it. And so while we hate these other divisions, we've got to sort of feel a little, I wouldn't say good, but proud of this division and where these teams are going. Now, the Jets, they had the Adam Gase disaster, and they've risen so much, and they're just getting started. Every team in the AFC East should be nervous. Bills, they've got the edge. They've got a pretty smooth schedule. They've got Allen, best quarterback in the division. They've got the edge still. But Bills fans shouldn't be nervous, but I'd say a tad bit concerned. They're clearly still the edge, I think, given all the stuff available, that they're going to take the AFC East, although it's not a lock. And then there's my Dolphins. My Dolphins have won games like a razor's edge week after week. And while that shows a great fortitude, it also says, because some of that's been lesser competition, something ain't right. But they have a little bit of ammo coming soon that might boost them, but they're going to need the boost. Best passing offense in the AFC East right now, although they've got some flaws that they need to work on. And then there's the Patriots. Everyone wants to say they're dead. And you know what? They're not very dynamic, but that defense is pretty good. They've got a running game, offensive line, special teams, and they are feisty. And I wouldn't write them out. This can go a lot of different ways, guys. But the Bills dropping one to the Jets today does make it very dicey. So I'm going to get into the Bills-Jets game. I'm going to give mostly coverage for the Bills, but I also need to cover the Jets as well. Because as a football evaluator, I am so impressed. So before I get into all that, I'm going to say thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, especially the comments. You guys make this show go. The comments especially, I love them. It's the most entertaining thing for me to do this channel is to hear you and talk with you and all that stuff. So I appreciate that. But I also want to give a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without you, without them, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so Allen, 200 yards in the air. I think he was like 18 for 34, 2 picks. Wilson, he had, I think it was 1 pick, and he had 150. Neither of the quarterbacks through the air were able to generate a lot. But within that, there was a few mistakes, a few critical plays that did play a big part. Really, it was the running attack. And on the Jets side, the defense that really came through. And I think I just talked to Tommy Mafia Sports Report, and he's like, I'm not really worried. We just didn't play up to our potential, but I am a little worried about the offensive line. So I want to dial in on the offensive line. I think Tommy's wrong, and he's right too, but wrong. And I'll get into that in a second. Now, Allen, big day, that 68-yard run, unbelievable. But he had 9 carries. Singletary had 8, and Cook had 4. So it was 12 by the back, 9 by Allen. And this ties back into the same thing I was saying last year. When you have Allen too much of the soup, I think it's like 68% or 65%. I got to go back and check. But when it's in that high 60s range, the chances of the Bills losing is very high because there's only so much that a human can do. When he's dialed in, the whole defense is dialing in on him. You give him everything to do, it just comes out to be too much. When he starts being a piece of the puzzle, his potential, his impact, it drastically increases, and so does the win total. I'll get into the offensive line. The offensive line's not bad, but they can't say. I've been saying this for 2 seasons, Bills fans, and I try to be honest. I'm not here to knock. I'm just saying my opinion. I might be wrong, but you can't have guys sitting in pass protection all day, especially when you bring in Quisenberry and got him at right tackle, and you got Saffold at left guard. And they come from the Titans offense, which is like 60 to 60% something run. It's a run-heavy offense. So then you take them out of there where they were highly successful and then go into a pass-heavy offense. It doesn't make sense. It's not maximizing their talents. And the same could be said for the entire offensive line. Last week, it was a very good performance, and a lot of that had to do with Singletary being a major piece of the puzzle. When you go look at the defense of the Jets, they rush 4 and drop 7, and they got 2 stud cornerbacks, which makes it very difficult to pass and pass and pass. Early on, when the Bills started putting points on, they had a diverse look. They were running the football. They were taking snaps under the center. But as the game wore on, the Bills went to Allen more and more, and the pass more and more, and it was more draws. I don't know if I saw 2 running plays back to back. There might have been, but not nearly enough. The Jets are a quality build, but they won through Carter and the rest of the running backs and the offensive line having a balanced approach. There's no reason why the Bills couldn't have won this game if they had let Singletary and Cook, with Gilliam as a fullback on occasion, bear more of the burden. When the offensive line is sitting in pass protect and the D knows that the linebackers were very rarely biting up on the run. They were dropping a lot. Sometimes they'd have 1 linebacker and drop them, 2 linebackers, barely bite and drop. The Bills, if an idiot like me can look at the film and say, most of these play actions don't mean garbage. Let's cover the pass until they run us out of it. They're not going to. They almost never do. And it puts even a super talent like Diggs and Davis and Allen in the wrong place because Allen ended up with 5 sacks. And the offensive line started breaking down, and Allen started having to do too much. And even at the end of the game, he had that sack where his arm kind of got hurt. It all comes back to this imbalanced approach. Even my Dolphins, who have a ridiculous pass offense, struggled against the Bears because they could not run the football. And the Bears, who suck on defense, understood this. They were not going to run the football, stopped it a little bit when they can. They had 1 big run, and then in critical pass downs, they kind of knew what they were doing. They covered it, and there were problems, and it kept them in the game, obviously, along with Fields. This is the same problem with the Bills. Defense played good enough. I don't think Allen, and this is why I said last week about Allen in that crunch time, he has to be more careful with the football because it creates muscle memory, ways of protocols of operating, and he was sloppy with the ball. That could have been kept the game a tie when it was a field goal that was taken off, and then he had the pick later on, and that hurt. That pick later on, I don't think was terrible. It was a bad situation, and that happens. But that first pick was just sloppy, and that's why I pointed to last week, the sloppy play at the end, how you got to get rid of that. But overall, I don't see the Bills not winning the AFC East if they're smart. If they dable it up, I do think it could be a little bit of a dicey situation. Singletary is too talented. Saffold and Quisenberry are run blockers first. Balance, past balance is the key. I say it and I say it again. Now to the Jets. The Jets are doing great stuff. They're building around an offensive line. They took massive injuries. Becton went down. Veritaka went down. But they've invested so much. That offensive line is a core unit of this team, and it helps them, and it's building them to what they have now. Along with Carter, who was a steal, building on good running backs, a whole committee with this offensive line. Wilson is developing. He had a couple of nice plays. It's going to take a little time, but this guy is starting to rise. What will he be as a ceiling? I don't know, but it's looking pretty good. But it's this defense that is fueled by a run game, by the running the football, wearing that clock down, not keeping them on the field all day. They're able to rush for. Quinnen Williams is looking like the best interior lineman in this division. He always had the talent. His first season was unbelievable, and then there was a lot of rocky road. Wilkins, I love on the Dolphins, and I love Sealer, but they don't have the skill set of Quinnen Williams. He dominated, made some big plays. And Johnson had that where Allen rolled out, and he got that big play. Huge. But that all defensive line, as good as it is, there's a lot of good pieces on there. And Mosley's playing really good in the pass coverage. It comes down to Reed and Sauce. And the problem is, for other teams, if you can't run at this Jets defense, which is very good at stopping the run, you're in trouble. Because if you just let them let the offense get off schedule, and they're sitting back there with Reed and Sauce and 7 guys in coverage and 4 guys who can do pretty good, and you're off schedule, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, whatever, it's going to not be a great day for you. You've got to run against this defense, not even just for yards and production, but to keep it balanced. You've got to be patient. The Bills are not patient enough, in my opinion. Talent is not the issue. It's got to be like last week where there was balance and patience. It was a 3-point game, but it was chuck and duck. 18 completions, 34 passes, and 9 runs by Allen. Allen, yes, he had the bad pass, but he carried this team, but it's getting to be too much, and it's not going to bring the consistency. This offensive line has to block. Jets are going to make every game a tough one for everyone in this division. It's going to be very interesting now to see how the Bills meet up against the Patriots. I don't think the Patriots stand a chance up in Buffalo, but in Foxborough, it could be very interesting. That defense is good. My Dolphins, we beat the Patriots, but we got to go up there, which is going to be big-time dicey. Big-time dicey. And it's going to be big-time dicey up in Buffalo. And then, this is crazy. The last game against the Jets could be for all the marbles, and who knows what's going to happen along the way. Very interesting division. Bills fans, I wouldn't hold my head down low, but balance, pass balance, not making Allen the end-all, be-all, but a piece of the equation is going to get you guys on. There's so many easy games, quote-unquote, games that you guys should definitely win. Just got to protect Allen and have a consistent formula, and I think it'll be fine. But Jets, I hate you guys. Got a good franchise. You got a good team. The franchise building a very good team over there. Anyway, as Curtis saying, who knows what's going to happen, but it's very exciting. Curtis saying, catch you next time. Be well. Bills fans, hang your head up high. Still looking your way. Still looking good for you guys. Talk to you soon. Be well. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceBread.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.